G'day, I'm Tim Minchin. I'm the composer-lyricist of Matilda the Musical, and this is Behind the Music. Somewhere in about 2008, in the middle of my ready for this tour, I got a call from my agent saying that the Royal Shakespeare Company wanted a meeting with me, and I had no idea what it was about. And I guess I thought maybe it was about doing a Shakespeare or something. It was with Matthew Warchus, who I'd never heard of because I'm totally stupid. And yeah, he asked me if I knew of Roald Dahl, and I went, yeah. And he said, do you know Matilda? And I went, yeah. And he said, have you ever thought about writing musicals? And I went, yeah, I've written like 10 or 12 scores, 15 maybe, or maybe not, 10 or 12. And then we had a chat about adapting Matilda, and I kind of told him what I thought, which was it would be very easy to screw up. And I understood that they probably weren't going to get me because they were just interviewing different people. I said, whoever you get, tell them not to fuck it up because it's very easy to turn things into Disney musicals when you've got a young protagonist with hope in her heart. And and then they asked me to do it. I finished a tour in Australia in early 2009, and my son Casper, who wasn't yet my son Casper, was 8 weeks away from being born, coming out of my wife, and so I gave myself 6 weeks, and I rented a little room in Islington. Quite a big room actually. It was like this empty warehouse space with a grand piano, freezing cold. And on the first day I wrote what became the sort of circus theme. And on the second day I wrote When I Grow Up, and then I wrote 12 other songs and demoed them up. And I'm skipping the bit where we sat around for day after day after day planning the structure of the thing. I'm a big pre-planner. I'm not really interested in starting to write unless I know what the whole project is and where the songs are going to be and what sort of songs they're going to be, and do we all agree they should be about this? I'm like, I don't want you to tell me what you think the lyrics will be. I don't want you to tell me what exactly they're going to sing, but we all agree these are the songs, this who's going to sing them, this is the act structure, these are the beats, and then you just write and try not to overthink, I think. Different stories need different vernacular and different rhythm and different sounds, and I had made a reputation by then, a small reputation by then, for my shows, which are quite dark and adult and wordy and sweary and high concept. But there was no switches that need adjusting. You just, I guess writing is an act in empathy in the broader sense of the word. You're literally going, what would it feel like to be 6 and be a genius living in a house with televisions and horrible parents? That would be noisy in her head, and being that smart, that young must feel confusing, and so you just stick yourself in their position and then try and make them sing, which is hard. Well, what's interesting about When I Grow Up is it's the exception to the rule, because it wasn't on the grid. It wasn't necessary narratively. I just kind of wrote it, I think, to kind of put myself in the space, to sort of go, what's this world? What is this line between comedy and heart? And I just wanted to write something that kind of landed. that wasn't too attached to a narrative obligation. And I delivered a demo to the creative team, and they all went, "This is a great song." And I think Matthew got quite worried at that point that I wasn't really understanding my job. But I said, I think it's just top of the second act. I know it's not, blah, blah. And it got shifted around through different workshops and stuff, and then landed back at the top of the second act. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I have developed a bit of top of second act theory. I like the idea that you bring people into the world, you get them totally hooked on the characters and the journeys, hit the end of the first act at some moment of jeopardy or high stakes. And then you start, and then everyone goes and gets their Maltesers and has a wee and talks about the first act, and you have to go, all right, come on, sit down, finish your Maltesers, So the second act doesn't do what the first act does, which is go, bam, you're in the world, or some musical seduction. The top of the second act's more like you're slowly putting the fourth wall back up. So Matilda starts with Telly, which is literally, he's talking to the audience. And then When I Grow Up, which says, okay, you're coming in. And then at the end of When I Grow Up, you're back in the narrative. And Groundhog Day has Playing Nancy, which is a meta song. So about an actress stuck in a play, really, that reminds you that you're in a bit of a meta world, that and then you slowly, the fourth wall comes back in, coalesces, and you're back in. And it might be a theory, but it feels like something that's mine. If you're a budding composer, don't believe me, because A, I'm probably wrong, and B, it's my idea. I guess we all want to relate to Matilda because we all want to be smart and morally clear. She's got great moral clarity without being a sort of moral despot, Matilda. That's not right, and that's what is amazing about Dahl, is his protagonists are generally children in his kids' books, and the adults are generally idiots. And the thing that helps the kids be the heroes is that he has a sense that children's moral clarity is less muddied than adults. And the adults who are most moral tend to be more childlike, like Miss Honey's sort of gentle. I suppose I feel connected to Matilda because I spend a lot of time trying to represent her, especially with Quiet, which is my favourite thing I wrote probably for this. That feels like I've put a version of myself into her, so I feel quite related to her. For a 10-year-old child playing a 6-year-old child to hold 1,300 people in silence is it's ambitious, and it works. It pays off. Yeah.
Someone says red, and how if we are travelling at almost the speed of light, and we're holding a light, that light would still travel away from us at the full speed of light, which seems right in a way, but I'm trying.
These long-running musicals are capsules, time capsules. I suppose, there are musicals on the West End. Some producers are always trying to tweak to make them more palatable, but this musical has a lot of detail and integrity. There's a film of this musical coming out that adjusts a few things and will adjust the orchestrations to contemporize them a bit without damaging the world we've created. And there is some new music in that I wonder in time whether it will be reverse engineered into the stage show.